Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello and happy Tuesday, everyone. You are watching SOS, where I am saving our sex lives one bedroom at a time. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and today we're talking about a very serious topic. I think all of our topics are serious, but today we're talking about sex offenses in marriage. Sex offenses in marriage. And I know for a fact many people have a hard time seeing sexual abuse as a reality in some marriages, but it is very, very real. And surprisingly, it is more common than you might think. And so the first thing that we need to do today is to actually define what sexual abuse is. Sexual abuse is any unwanted sexual contact, not just by a stranger, not just by a friend, not even just by a family member. Sexual abuse can happen to anyone, by anyone, even your own spouse. Even your own spouse. So, again, today what we're doing is unpacking signs that sexual abuse may be occurring in your marriage and what you can actually do about it. These are signs that sexual abuse is occurring or might be occurring in your marriage and what you can actually do about it. So, just to recap for those of you who are joining, and please let me know who you are and where you're streaming from so I can shout you out for sure. That's my joy. That's my pleasure. I love to do that. So please make sure you let me know who you are and where you're streaming from so I can shout you out. But as I said, sexual abuse, any unwanted sexual contact. That is what it is. And it does not have to be solely by a stranger. It can be by anyone. So the very first sign that I want to break down for you all today is you agree only because you are afraid. You agree only because you are afraid. And so when we are talking about sex in a marital relationship, and fear is present, we know that is not a good sign. Sexual abuse and physical abuse are almost always linked. Almost always linked. So, if a victim is experiencing sexual abuse, he or she is most likely also being physically abused by the same person. And if you only agree to sex because you have been threatened, okay, there has been a threat of physical harm, and it doesn't have to just be physical, it could be emotional, right? So if you agree to sex only because you were threatened that there would be some harm that would come to you physically or emotionally, it's sexual abuse. And that can come in the form of threats to hit you, leave you, or even harm your children if there are children present. Okay, if there are children present. So again, it can be threats of physical harm or threats of emotional harm, threats to leave. That also is a form of manipulation. And that could be a situation where you are being sexually abused. All right. Second thing. And I'm sorry, I want to make sure you all have visuals, those of you who are note takers. If your spouse refuses to practice safe sex, if your spouse refuses to practice safe sex, that could be a sign that sexual abuse is taking place. When I research and I listen to the experts that are out there on sexual abuse, they mention and oftentimes will break down the fact that sexual abuse includes being forced to participate in any degrading, unwanted, or unsafe sexual act. Any degrading, unwanted, or unsafe sexual act. This means that even if you consent to sex with your spouse, it's still abuse if you ask them to wear protection and they refuse. Sexual abuse includes any situation where someone forces you to do uncomfortable, intimate acts. So if you're uncomfortable using protection, your partner should respect and uphold that. If that's what you need, if you're comfortable with protection, your partner should respect and uphold that. Now, we know that the majority of our Couples Academy family members have actually experienced infidelity in some shape or form. And for those of you who have gone through or are currently going through sexual infidelity, when you begin to re-engage again, or you're having those talks about re-engaging, you're talking about trying to reconnect sexually with your spouse, and you ask for them to wear protection, this should be a non-negotiable. If that is what you need to feel safe, then that's what needs to happen. Case closed. And there should not be a hard time given, because that's what you need to feel safe to engage in intercourse with your spouse. The reality is this: if there were never infidelity, there would not be this question, there wouldn't be this uncertainty, there wouldn't be this uncomfortableness, there would not be a need or a thought to create that level of safety, security, and support. Okay, so we have to respect the decisions of our spouse if that's what they need. We should just be grateful that they actually want to re-engage, that they actually want to be intimate again, and do whatever it takes to be able to connect with your spouse in that way. Okay. The next sign: if your spouse forces their decision of birth control, pregnancy, and or abortion. Now, forgive me, I know this says he, but it's they, right? It literally is they, because women, we actually can make a decision that we're going to go on or off of birth control and not discuss it with our spouses, which is not right. Which is not right. We also can choose to try to get pregnant on purpose, or prevent ourselves from getting pregnant on purpose without discussing that with our spouse. If your spouse wants children, you know they want children, and you did not tell them in any way, shape, or form that you don't want children, and they have in their mind that we're working toward having children, and you're on birth control, that's manipulation. That's conniving. That's deceitful. That is a form of betrayal. And one might view that as being abuse. Abortion: if you are forcing someone to have an abortion, or you choose to have an abortion without discussing it with your spouse, again, one could view that as abuse. There are major decisions that both you and your spouse should seriously consider together. No one person should make that decision alone. If you are in a marriage and you are not separated, okay, you are still together, these are those life conversations, life decisions that you need to be discussing together. Okay, not a decision to be made alone, because it affects the both of you. And so we want to make sure that we're on the same page, that we're having these conversations, and that no one is being deceitful or manipulative or controlling in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Next sign: withholding sex as punishment. Now, this is a big one. This is a big one, because there are many, many times where I am talking to couples and the husband is complaining about the wife withholding sex. Well, guess what? Men do it too. And it doesn't matter which gender you are, doesn't matter if you're the betrayed or the betrayer, if you're dealing with infidelity, withholding sex to get what you want is considered not only sexual abuse, but psychological abuse. It's a form of manipulation meant to control the other person. And that is one of the most unhealthy things you can possibly do to try to solve a problem in your marriage. The healthy way to solve problems in your marriage is through communication and counseling, not by withholding love or withholding sex. So if you are at an impasse with your spouse, with your partner, you all aren't able to reach a decision together, and you are truly, truly struggling with how to come up with a decision that you both can live with, then you literally may need to reach out and get support. This is what Couples Academy is here for. So all you have to do is go to couplesacademy.org and book your session today. Make a call, reach out, make that discovery call, and let us help you. Let us help you, because withholding sex, that's not the way to solve the problem. It actually does so much more harm than good when you do that. Okay, next sign. Your spouse forces you to do uncomfortable sexual things. Your spouse forces you to do uncomfortable sexual things. If your spouse touches you inappropriately, even after you told them no, that is sexual abuse. If your spouse is in the mood and you are not in the mood and they take sex from you anyway, that's sexual abuse. Any form of sexual contact, whether it involves rape or not, is considered sexual abuse, and it should never, ever, 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 ever be taken lightly. You know, we are in a time, thankfully, where there are more women who are speaking up and coming forward. There are more men who are speaking up and coming forward. However, there is still such a huge, huge gap in persons who have experienced sexual abuse and reporting in both genders. And this starts with education. It starts with you understanding what it actually is, and you not disregarding, dismissing, discounting sexual abuse just because it's coming from your spouse. It's even worse when it's coming from your spouse, because you are in a covenant relationship with this person. You're supposed to be vulnerable with this person. You're supposed to be able to trust them, rely on them, depend on them. And if they violate you in this way, it actually can be devastating and be extremely damaging and difficult to recover from. So I want you to know these signs so that if this is happening or has happened, we can open up dialogue about this and that we can stop the abuse today. So I want you all to, again, take this very seriously. And if it doesn't apply to you, it's okay. Share it. That's a beautiful thing. But share it with your friends, family, colleagues, and coworkers, because you never know who might be dealing with this every single day. And they're just afraid to speak up, or they're completely oblivious to the fact that it is abuse. But we're going to take a quick break, and then I will reveal the rest of the signs for you. So do not swipe left, don't swipe right. Don't go anywhere. You're watching SOS. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org. everybody, Hassani and Danielle here. I'm so excited. Look at us. Look at where we at. Look at where we at. We are at the Hilton Alpharetta, looking at this room before the incredible transformation that's about to take place on October 7th. Walls draped, stage up, lights, camera, action. And we want y'all to be there.
Are you going to be here?
Come on, get your tickets. It's October 7th. You don't want to miss this event. It is the Phoenix Awards Gala. It is our first inaugural, and we're just getting started. We starting hot.
Oh yeah, we got it.
We jumping out this gate like never before.
We believe either you go hard or you go home.
Go hard
we're not going to be home. We're going to be in
hard or
this
go
house
home.
where you need to be.
Come on,
So let's get it.
we want to see you on October 7th. Go to get your tickets at couplesacademy.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is LaKeesha Hines. You're watching SOS. Today we're talking about sex offenses in marriage. Sex offenses in marriage. Now listen, the sex offenses are the sex offenses. It doesn't matter if you're married or not, but I'm specifically focused on marriage today because this is one of those topics that many people don't talk about, and they don't think that the two go together, that there can't be sexual offenses in marriage, but there absolutely can. And so we're bringing awareness to this topic that just clearly isn't really spoken about a lot. It's really not. So before we dive back in, I want to shout out those of you who follow my instructions and directives. What's up, Augusta, Prince of Petty, Damian Lyons Senior, Kimberly Stokes McCoy. Hey sis, how you doing, Queen? And I see your question, Prince of Petty, and I will answer it after I give you the rest of these signs. Thank you so much for your question. Those of you who have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're a regular here, you know I love questions. I didn't say anything this morning because I was just ready to dive back in right to this hot topic. But if you do have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. You have comments, this is resonating with you, drop it in the chat. Also, if it doesn't apply to you, that's a beautiful thing. That's a blessing, but you should share it with your friends, family members, neighbors, co-workers, and colleagues. You never know who might be dealing with sexual abuse every day in their marital relationship. Okay. So I want to make sure that we don't leave anybody out. I want to make sure that we are spreading the word about this extremely important topic. And so that's why I'm saying, please make sure that you share. Also, at Couples Academy, we want you to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Do not forget to do that so you can stay up to date with all things Couples Academy. And last but not least, if you don't have your tickets for the gala, what the heck are you waiting for? Get your tickets. I want to see your face in the place. I want you there with me at my table with my husband. All right. So we can celebrate all things marriage and love together. All right. So the next sign that I want to share with you, they persist even after you said no. They persist even after you have said no. It's your body. When you say no, your spouse should respect that. Intimacy is a mutual decision between two people, whether they are married or not. It is a mutual decision. Both parties have to be on board. Both parties have to say yes. Both parties have to want to engage. Even if you are actively engaged and one decides that they want to stop, you must honor that, you must respect that, and you must stop. This is one of the things that literally we talked about last night in our Moving Forward program group session. And it was about when you're on this infidelity recovery journey, oftentimes the betrayed will get triggered during sex, but the betrayer can get triggered as well because you both have your own set of issues that you're dealing with, right? But whatever it is, you can be in the midst of intercourse. Someone gets triggered, needs to stop. You have to respect that. And then don't make them feel bad about it if they're being honest about where they are. Don't you want your partner to be fully engaged and fully willing and committed and excited about being intimate with you versus having sex with you out of force and not choice? You can't fully enjoy that sexual encounter or experience if your partner is not there with you mentally or emotionally. Okay. So we have to respect that. It's sexual abuse if you persist after your spouse is saying no. Okay. The last sign we'll talk about today is if your spouse insults and criticizes your body. If your spouse insults and or criticizes your body. So we already have our own set of insecurities and things that we're dealing with, right? So we don't need our spouses, the people who are supposed to love us unconditionally, we don't need them criticizing or insulting our bodies, right? And when I say our, I'm not talking about women, I'm talking about people in general. Sexual harassment ranges from degrading remarks to inappropriate physical contact. This includes your spouse insulting your body and your looks. Your spouse, your teammate, your partner, your life partner should not shame you for the way you look. A loving wife and a loving husband will never harm your self esteem. They will do whatever they can to build up and uplift that self esteem. Okay. So we are never insulting or criticizing our spouse's bodies. So now, what do we do if you find or you're questioning that you're questioning whether or not you're experiencing sexual abuse in your relationship? Just because you're married, it doesn't mean that your body belongs to your spouse. Now, from a biblical standpoint, the Bible does say that the wife's body belongs to the husband and the husband's body belongs to the spouse. This is different. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a healthy sexual relationship where two people respect each other and will never force the other person to do something uncomfortable or harmful. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about the marriage bed not being defiled, and that scripture has been taken out of context so many times. And the reality is this: the two must agree. The two must agree. We can't just bring any and everything we want into the bedroom. The two must agree. And so if you are being sexually abused, you need to seek help today. You need to reach out to a trusted family member, a friend, or even a counselor, which I am here for you if that's where you are. You can also contact the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 1-800-656-HOPE. You can always contact that hotline, and you may just want to save that in your phone, because if you encounter someone who shares with you that they're experiencing sexual abuse, you want to be ready. You can also chat online with the National Sex Assault Hotline to get support, information, and advice from a trained specialist. And so, with the support of your family, with friends, you can find the strength you need to get out of an abusive relationship so you can feel safe again. There are times, truthfully, where people don't even realize that what they're doing is sexual abuse. And when that is the case, once they've been educated and they've been informed, they're going to need support as well, especially if it was something they were not doing intentionally. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're getting help on both sides. I hope this helps someone. And again, if it's not you, that's a beautiful thing. Thank God. But please make sure you share with others. Okay. Please make sure you're sharing with others. I want to go to Prince of Petty's question. And the question is, what are some examples of the emotional harm? What are some examples of the emotional harm? Thank you so much for your question. So some signs might be severe anxiety, like nightmares, clinging, or avoidance of specific people or specific places. It could be depression. It could be you see a change in personality where the person is completely withdrawn. They have low self-esteem. They're having suicidal thoughts, frequently crying, uncontrollably crying, just crying out of nowhere. You're not able to identify the cause of the crying. It could be extreme anger. extreme anger, like tantrums, aggression, increased irritability. There could even be self-injurious behaviors like cutting or burning, or thinking about themselves or their body as repulsive, dirty, or bad. Sometimes that'll be where you'll see people who bathe a lot and they rub their skin harshly until they actually break the skin. Fear of intimacy is a big one. Fear of being close. Changes in personal hygiene habits. You know, one person who used to always be well put together and smell good and clothes clean or whatever, you may see them in dirty clothes, or they're not showering, or they're not washing their hair, or just not taking care of their personal hygiene, not brushing their teeth, not washing their face type thing, because a lot of times they're doing that to try to repulse anyone else from abusing them. You may see compulsive eating or dieting. Compulsive eating or compulsive dieting. You might see them trying to self-medicate with drugs or with alcohol. Changes in their sleep pattern, sleep disturbances like insomnia, or again, it could be nightmares. So these are some of the main signs or examples of what can affect the person emotionally. Okay, emotional signs of sexual abuse. And it's definitely something to be on the lookout for. Okay, I hope that helps, Prince of Petty. Oh, I see you have another question here. Okay, so what if a spouse cheated in the past and the infidelity consistently comes up because he or she was able to sexually please the side person? Thus, the spouse shames the other for not performing. Is that emotional abuse sexually? Okay, so if I heard you correctly, what you're saying is we have two married people, one spouse cheated in the past, infidelity keeps coming up because the spouse was able to please the affair partner. And then the spouse who cheated shames their spouse for not performing. And so you want to know if that is emotional abuse. I would say by definition, it absolutely is. We're not going to criticize the person that we're with. And honestly, what it sounds like is in this particular relationship, we're not getting the help. We haven't gotten the help that we need to heal and recover from that infidelity that took place in the past. Because if we're still comparing our spouse to the affair partner, we haven't done the work that we need to do to heal or to move on past that affair. Okay, to heal or recover from that affair. So is it emotional abuse? Yes, it is emotional abuse, not sexual abuse, emotional abuse. And that is something that definitely should be handled, should be dealt with. We can't ignore that. We can't pretend like that's not happening. And you know, one of the things that I will say to you, anyone who's questioning whether or not they are being sexually abused, emotional abused, mentally abused, when your spouse is engaging in whatever the behaviors are that are in question, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? If it makes you feel violated or taken advantage of, or like your voice hasn't been heard, out of control, like you're being forced to do something that you don't want to do, you're feeling uncomfortable, you know, and there's a change in how you view yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you treat yourself. These are all red flags and things that should prompt you to make a call today and let us help you. Let us assist you to get you to a healthy place, be that collectively or separately. Okay, we're here for you. And we want to make sure that everybody who is connected with Couples Academy is the best version of themselves they can possibly be, and also have the best marriage that they can possibly have. And I hear you saying that you've done everything that you can, but they throw it in your face. You need to reach out for help. Make that discovery call today. All right, please make that call and let us help you. All right, everyone. I want to say thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'll see you in the same place, same time next week. Love you guys to life. Have a good day. Peace and blessings. And I'll see you at the gala.